السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا محمد النبي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. يا حي يا قيوم يا حي يا قيوم. الفاتحة. The nature of life, it is always in the state of something's happening. And then what happened? Either it made you close to your purpose of life, or it made you far from that purpose of life. So now we come to 2 points, either something that made you close or made you far. In reality, you're getting close, you're not getting far. But yet you can experience far, opposing that reality because of where you place your attention. So the aspect of placing your attention is one of dominant aspect of human being, is aspect of choice. Ikhtiyar juz'iyya, which is in our i'tiqad al-sunnah wal jama'ah, believe that we have that ikhtiyar. By that aspect of ability, if we use it right, then surely as time passes, you will experience closeness. Not knowing that you getting close. Sometimes you may know something, but your experience is opposing what you know. So to synchronize between what you know and what you experience, it is so important in any circumstances, in any situation given. That is why the first revelation that been revealed is Iqra, means read. Now that read necessitates understanding, because anything that you read, you want to understand it. If you don't understand, you won't read it. Anything that you read, the central point of that reading, by its nature, that Iqra, it provokes a sense of at-tafahum, a sense of understanding. So read will activate a sense of understanding. That understanding will activate a sense of remembrance. So read, understand, remembrance, the idea of memorizing or take it in what you have read, understand. So read, understand, it will lead you towards remembrance, or remembering what you read and understand. So you have 3. So those 3 elements, read, understand, and memorize, or take it in, or remember what you read, what you understand. The moment you combine those 3 elements, read, understand, and memorize, then it takes you out from jahil and bring you to the place of alim. This is what the scholars say, Arkan al-Alim. If you want to become mu'allim, this is the arkan, the rukun. Read, understand, and memorize them. When you have those three, then you're called mu'allim. But that is not suffice. Read, understand, memorize them. You need one more, which is application. To implement exactly, precisely what you read, what you understand, and what you memorize. So we have three words now: read, understand, memorize, and implementation. Short form for Rumi. R-U-M-I. Read, understand, memorize, implementation. Rumi. That's what Rumi is, really. Now, when you come to the point of implementation, it necessitates sincerity. Because any amal, any practice that you do, if you rule out sincerity, then you're opposed to riyah. Any amal without niyyah, then it becomes adah, not ibadah. The difference between ibadah and adah is the intention, the niyyah. So read, understand, memorize, and implementation. The completion of that implementation, it has to be with sincerity, the eye of intention. Then they complete. Sometimes you may have knowledge, but if there's no implementation in what you have, then it means nothing. And then that implementation itself is not suffice unless you have exactly, precisely مطابق للحق. Exactly, precisely according to the people of the book. And the last is the idea of constant remembrance. Constant being present. So that's the 7 words. So read, understand, memorize, implementation, sincerely, wholeheartedly, exactly, precisely, consciously, constantly, being conscious, being present at any situation given. Let it be sweet, bitter, difficult, easy, praise, blame. Any circumstances, by the nature of life is always changing, and those two modes of changing, either the state of ease, easy, and difficult. And most of ourselves, not ourselves, our balance, because facing those states of difficulties. From state of healthy, you're unhealthy. Now when you're healthy state, the way you think, feel, and act is different way. But the very moment you're unhealthy, your thinking, feeling, and thinking, feeling, and action start to alter, start to divert from one state to another state. So now, read, understand, memorize, implementation, sincerely, wholeheartedly, exactly, precisely, consciously, constantly, at any situation given. That situation, explain, difficult, easy, praise, blame, people support you, people don't support you, a lot of people, no people, by yourself, in jama'ah, out jama'ah, in the mosque, out the mosque, any circumstances, any situation. But most of us, when we face different environment or different circumstances, then we change. So therefore, as a result, that reading, Iqra, is not reaching to the peak of reading. Because the peak of reading is to come to that point of consciously, constantly, at any situation given in your life. Let it be sweet, bitter, difficult, easy, praise, blame. Any circumstances, those circumstances, it should alter your state, become more stronger and more firm and more close to reality. Because Iqra is the beginning and at the end is wasjud waqtarib, not wasjud waqta'id. So qarib, the idea of that having consciously, constantly, at any circumstances, at any situation given in one life, in facing challenge of life, the age that we're living in now, challenge within ourselves, family, society, community, nation, and the most importantly, challenges that we are facing, which is ourselves, our habit, ourselves, our reality, which connects to us what you think, what you feel, and what you do. Because human being, in that reading and understanding and memorizing and implementation, sincerely, wholeheartedly, exactly, precisely, consciously, constantly, at any situation given, is to come to the point of firmness in your thinking, feeling, and acting. Because read, understand, memorize, implementation, that implementation, it is connected to ikhlas. So ikhlas is the idea of at-tawheed. Exactly, precisely, is the idea of fiqh. Consciously, constantly, at any situation given, is the idea of tasawwuf. So now we begin to see, just read, it governs those aspects of our life maturity, life journey, life circumstances, life situation that we're facing, which is easy, difficult, praise, blame, support, blame, support or not supporting you, agree with you or disagree with you. These circumstances that change, if we does not remind ourselves strong enough the meaning of iqra, read, at that level of consciously, constantly, at any situation given in our life position, is to build, is to make you qareeb, is to make you close. If you don't remind ourselves that simple meaning of iqra, the moment you forget that, then you will knock yourself out of balance. Knock yourself out of balance from being in the state of doing and surrender. Because the purpose of reading, understand, and memorize, and implementation, sincerity, exactly, precisely, consciously, constantly, at any situation given, is to create a state of delicate balance between doing and surrender. We are human beings, not human doing. The idea of delicate balance between doing and surrender, that is very much connected with i'tiqad al-sunnah wal jama'ah. But if you too much do, no element of surrendering, then you cannot gain that consciously, constantly at any circumstances, because you too much do. The moment you're too much doing, your focus attention is towards the external. So doing is always about external, and surrender is always internal. So delicate balance between doing and surrender. And really, surrender is more stronger than anything else. Look at the nature of life. Night is the madrasa of surrender. So when come at night, we are learning about surrender. That's why soon we all going to collapse. So that sleeping mode is indicate you surrender. And the day is the madrasa of doing. So when we read Risala, when we come here every night, this gathering, this qasida that we read, is to centralize ourselves at that read, understand, memorize, implementation, sincerely, wholeheartedly, exactly, precisely, consciously, constantly, to gain that delicate balance between doing and surrender. If you're too much doing, then life becomes heavy. I have to do that. I have to do this. Everything is me to do it. Life becomes heavy. If too much surrender, then you not end up not doing anything, like Jabariyah. But the combination between the two, delicate balance between doing and surrender, is a state that all of us, day and night, in our thinking, feeling, acting, in seeking knowledge, in salah, in zakah, in hajj, in sa'im, in shahada, all that is to central ourselves, to come to that place, to be in that state of delicate balance between doing and surrender. All of us should look at ourselves when we seek knowledge, when we learn, when we practice. Like tonight, when we come here tonight, we spend here nearly good 1.5 hours or 2 hours. That spending time, is it increase that state of delicate balance between doing and surrender? Or is it the same state how we are outside just now? When we come in, we come with our bad habit of carelessness and heedlessness, or habit of consciousness and awareness, which is the ending result of that reading. So one should look at oneself and ask oneself a great question. Me has accepted this risala, this teaching of Muhammad Rasulullah, this teaching of Habibullah, this teaching of Anbiya, Awliya, Siddiqeen, Shuhada, wa Salihin. In that teaching, it has to be a sense of clarity about that teaching. And you can't understand the risala of teaching if you not read. And there's no point to read if you don't understand. And there's no point if you understand if you don't remember that, you forgot. And there's no point if you remember, you're not implementing. There's no point in implementation, there's no intention, which is sincerity. And that sincerity, it should lead yourself to exactly, precisely, and that exact and precise, which is fiqh, which is Islam, it should take us consciousness and awareness at any situation. Difficult, easy. Any circumstances, one should look at oneself, because those changing situations is a unit of measurement to see where we are in our declaration of faith, in our affirmation of that Iqra Bismi Rabb Alladhi Khalaq. Any circumstances that we're facing, Allah is a window to see your reality. It is a window to see yourself. What have we done? Where am I? And every second, every moment, in that moment is a great opportunity for you to transform, for you to uprise, for you to become strong than before, for you to connect, to draw close, not far. If we really read in that manner, read that end up with consciousness and constantly at any situation given. So the idea that when you read, there is a sense of intention in that reading. Because wa innama likulli imri'in ma nawa, each of us will get exactly precisely what we intend. So when you read, what is the intention behind that reading? Because that intention is going to influence your state. Are you someone that read just to know to know, or know to be? Know to know or know to be? So if you know to know, then you get know them. You can explain, you can talk, but nothing happens in your life. So Iqra is know to be. But you can't be if your intention to read just to know. But the influence of reading at the globe, because it's Newtonian education, has trained the momentum of thinking, trained the thinking brain to read in the way just to know. Know to know, not know to be. So if you've been training yourself to read anything just to understand, just to know, then you become like that. That habit. So to break that habit of being yourself, that not connecting to the giver of yourself, to the source, that is our tradition. That's an important part in the teaching. That's an important aspect that why we come this center tonight, to reinforce that. Now, if all of us come here with that read, yes, you don't understand most of the Arabic letters and words and sentences, even though you don't understand, but general understand what we explain about reading, the purpose that you're hearing about all those qasida, the burda. Yeah? It's talking about praising, it's talking about nafs al-ammara, the tricky of nafs al-ammara. It's talking about Maulid al-Rasul, talking about praising the Rasul, and then talking about what the incident and event that take place in his lifetime, talking about his mu'ajizat, and talking about Quran, and then talking about Isra wal Mi'raj, and then talking about mujahada, the aspect of breaking the habit of being yourself, that not connecting to the giver of yourself. So to sum up short, read at the end, consciously, constantly. Let us check ourselves tonight. In any majalis that we go, make sure clarity in that action from where we are to come to where we are. Your intention has to be clear. Once you have a sense of clarity, then that clarity will lead you towards sincerity and integrity. And that clarity will lead you towards sincerity, and that sincerity will lead you towards synchronicity. So the idea of heart-mind coherent. The idea of your thinking, feeling, and acting synchronized. So most of us are having trouble now because we can be here, but at the same time our thinking is wandering somewhere. You can be in the prayer outwardly, but inwardly you're not there. Because we drift off so easy. We easily drift off. We can't pay attention for one thing for a long period of time. If I were to ask you, everybody, pay attention to this state, within 1 minute, 7 to 8 times you lost focus. That's something that we can see. What about something that you can't see, that you have accept, believe, surrender, that reality of that wajib al-wujud and facing this jaiz al-wujud? Can we lead our lives successfully facing the jaiz al-wujud to affirm the wajib al-wujud? Can we? We can't unless we read, understand, memorize, implementation sincerely, wholeheartedly, exactly, precisely, consciously, constantly, at any situation given in our life. And that will lead ourselves to that state of delicate balance between doing and surrender. So I think we stop there and so